Hello students, welcome to this lecture. This lecture is based on constructing knowledge in the classroom. When we talk about constructing knowledge, we should come to know that there is presumption that knowledge is being provided by the teacher to the learner. But it is not true. Knowledge cannot be provided by anyone to anyone. It is being constructed in the classroom, in the society, through the experiences, through the observations, through the experimentation. So, in this lecture, we will try to elaborate the issues related to the classroom where the construction of knowledge can be facilitated. If I discuss the famous quote from National Curriculum Framework 2005, it has been written there. There is a need to recognize the child as a natural learner and knowledge as the outcome of the child's own activity. A learning environment where children can construct their own knowledge, develop their capacities, and remain an active learner is needed. There is a need to recognize the child as a natural learner and knowledge as the outcome of the child's own activity. It clearly mentions that the knowledge is the outcome of child's own activity. Child observe, child analyze, child experience, and child develop its own knowledge and construct its own knowledge. For such construction of knowledge, a learning environment is required. A learning environment where children can construct their own knowledge and develop their capacities and remain an active learner. Such kind of environment is needed in the schools. In these days, the classroom has changed a lot. Learners from various backgrounds, learners with a lot of experiences, a lot of previous knowledge are coming to classroom. They are not blank slates, so their experiences, their knowledge, their background should be used for construction of knowledge. And in modern day classrooms, such kind of environment is required. When we talk about the construction of knowledge, there are certain key assumptions. Knowledge is an active meaning making process. Teachers should understand that knowledge is an active meaning making process. Active meaning making process. Knowledge is not rolled from one place to another place. Knowledge cannot be transported. Only information can be transported. Another assumption which a teacher should keep in his or her mind that learner have their own ideas about a situation. When we ex- expect learners to different kind of situations, they observe those situations, they analyze those situations based on their own previous experiences, and then they develop their own ideas. Those ideas may be complete and may be incomplete. We should not discourage incomplete ideas. We should encourage our learners to discuss their ideas because their ideas will help them to develop their own knowledge. Learner social cultural background has its significant impact on learners' ideas. As I mentioned that learners in today's classrooms are not coming from one social class or same same cultural background. They are from different social classes. They are from different cultural backgrounds. Their cultural background helped them to develop their own understanding about their culture. But when they came into the classroom and interact with the learners with other cultural background, they cross examine their culture and they compare both the cultures. They come out with the ideas that culture, whatever is their culture, their family culture, their society culture, is not the only culture. They came to know that yes, there are another culture also, and we should develop empathy with those cultures also. Another key assumption is that knowledge construction is possible through interaction, perception, and experience. Knowledge cannot be constructed alone until or unless we do not provide facility to our learner to interact with the peers, to interact with the society, to interact with the other groups, to interact with other children from same school and other school, to interact with the children of other classrooms, male children with the female children, means we should provide them lots of opportunities for interaction, because interaction helps in knowledge construction. Perception also helps in knowledge construction, because everyone perceive according to their own background and previous knowledge. For example, there is a famous example in which a teacher said that once there was a rain outside of a classroom, and in that room there was a child of scientist, a child of a poet, a child of a farmer. All three were interpreting and perceptioning the rain differently. The child whose father was a poet was imagining that my father will write a beautiful poetry on it. How beautifully the water drops are coming out from green leaves. The child of a scientist who is having a scientific orientation was started to thinking that why this rain comes now? What happens? What are the weather conditions? Whereas a child of a farmer started to think whether this rain is good for the crop or not. Means it means every child has their own background which develop their perception and interpretation, and experiences are also very important. So next we are going to discuss that what is the role of teacher to construct knowledge in classroom. How teacher helps students to construct knowledge in classroom. How to create a learning environment. If as a teacher we want to create a constructive learning environment, we should follow certain principles, or we should keep in mind certain points, like we should encourage and accept students autonomy and initiative. We used a wide variety of material including raw data, primary sources, and interactive materials, and encourage learners to use them. Inquire about their understanding of concepts before sharing their own understanding of those concepts. Encourage learners to engage in dialogue with the teacher and with one another. टीचर के साथ बच्चों को जो वार्तालाप उनका है उसमें उनको एंगेज रखना, उसके द्वारा भी नॉलेज कंस्ट्रक्ट किया जा सकता है. एनकरेज लर्नर्स इंक्वायर बाय आस्किंग thoughtful open-ended questions means when we are creating a conducive or constructive learning environment, it is our duty that our learner is active, our learner is asking questions from us, our learner is in dialogue with us as well as with other peers. Our learner is sharing their experiences or their explanations may not be complete, but those incomplete explanations will help us to move them from incomplete to complete. We encourage our learners to ask questions to each other and to seek elaborations of their initial responses. We should engage them in experiences that show contradictions to initial understanding and then encourage discussion. It means a teacher should not discourage learner when he or she is saying something which is contradictory to the teacher. Contradiction helps to resolve confusions, and to understand things properly. If we provide learner to construct relationships and create metaphors, assess their understanding through application and performance of open structured tasks. We assess their understanding through application and performance of open structured tasks means when a teacher is assessing something, sometimes or many times, we may see that the teacher are using some unusual unit test types things. No, in an constructive learning environment, assessment is through understanding, or assessment is the ability of applying the knowledge constructed by the learner in certain tasks. So, we should develop some task, some small activity where they can apply the knowledge which they have constructed through our class or during classroom. If they are able to apply, we can say that we have learned something or they have constructed their meaning. So, students, child at last, child is a natural learner and knowledge is the outcome of the child's own activity. Knowledge is an activity meaning making process. Learning environment facilitates learning through construction of knowledge. Teacher creates an active learning environment. Teacher is overall responsible for creating an environment where childs can construct their knowledge. So, we should remember that in our classroom, students construct knowledge by themselves, but a teacher should play their role as a facilitator. They should provide an environment where children can use their previous experiences, their perceptions, their previous knowledge. By the help of these, students could achieve better knowledge, achieve their goals, and construct knowledge which can help them in their future. So, as would-be teacher, you all should know, you all should remember that you are going to be responsible for creating an environment where children can construct their knowledge. So, be ready for constructing environment where children can construct their knowledge. That's all about this lecture. Thank you.